Hey Bass Resource, John Cruz here with you to talk more about chatterbaits. Springtime is when everybody's fishing, right? It is a great time to fish. One of my favorite seasons, obviously for the chatterbait, but during the springtime, we've got a transition that happens from, let's say, in most parts of the country, a pre-spawn situation throughout the spawn and then into a post-spawn shad spawn situation. So you've got a lot of different stuff that's going on within the chatterbaits. We're going to break that down for you right here, right now. So if you're looking at fishing that chatterbait throughout the springtime, here's the skinny on you. So kind of as a leftover from the late winter time, as we're going into that early springtime, you're going to have where those red and orange colors, like the fire craw and the lava craw trailer for that spunk shad. This is what I'm going to be using at the end of the time period of winter as the springtime begins. Sometimes for the first third of the spring, I'm going to stay with that red orange color on the chatterbait. It can be really good. If you get some extra stained water, the big blade chatterbait can be a really good alternative. You see how bright that is, how big that is? This can be a huge trigger. This thing thumps super hard. You're going to be putting a bigger trailer, that spunk shad, the next size up spunk shad, the 5.5 inch. Put that on there. Same setup that we're going to be showing you later, the same rod and reel, all that, but that harder, bigger blade, when that water gets a little bit dirty in that pre-spawn, that thing can be dynamite. I mean dynamite. And then as you're getting closer to the spawn, fish are going to be moving a little bit shallower. It's going to be getting around areas that might be a little bit clearer water, but you can still absolutely catch them on the chatterbait. But then during that time period, I'm going to go to a trailer that's going to help keep the bait up a little bit more. So I've got that Missile Baits Chunky D on the back, and it's got the two flappers. I'm going to turn it sideways so that, you know, when it's going along, those two flappers are going to stay level like this. That helps keep that bait up. You can go to the 3/8 ounce size, and when you're reeling that 3/8, you get it by a piece of cover, let's say a stump, dock, post, something like that, and you kill it. Those two flappers on the back give that little wagon waving action as they go down, and it's amazing how many bites you get as that thing is falling during that springtime when you're fishing it around. This is one I was fishing earlier this year, caught some fish on it at Lake Fork, but you throw it over there, reel it by the cover, stop it, just kill it for a second and let those tails kick. That can be absolutely dynamite there as well. But as you go into the bass spawn and really into the time period when the shad start spawning in most of the country. I mean, I'm talking from Texas to Virginia, that whole area. During the middle type of the spring, you're going to have, you know, obviously some white chatterbait regular, but that's the time period I'm going to go with the Miniax. I've got the 3.5 inch Shockwave on the back, just a little small, durable swim bait. That smaller Miniax size around the shad spawn is just absolutely dirty on them. It really is. You'll be throwing it around riprap banks, floating docks. You're going to be throwing it around any kind of willow grass that you might find along the bank. Any place that you think that the shad might be spawning, really, especially early in the morning. For some reason, that smaller size, I think that because it's smaller and the blade's a little more compact, it goes a little bit slower than like a heavier, bigger chatterbait. And something about that smaller, compact size, they eat that thing up. So this is kind of your one little transition time period bait that you're gonna go with. But then as we go towards the end of the spring, then that's when the brim and all are gonna come out. You're gonna see them all around the bank. That's the time period that I'm gonna be picking up that bluegilled color, the green pumpkin. This is a green pumpkin with a shrapnel color. It's like a bluegill type color on that little swim bait, the little Shockwave. Or I'm going to be throwing the green pumpkin Shockwave on the back, or spunk shad on the back. Just the bluegill imitators are really what I'm going to be going with. If I'm going to be skipping docks, I'm going to probably put a little bit bigger, bulkier bait on there, like that like the spunk shad. If I'm going to be fishing it more, just going down the, just a regular bank with not a lot of cover, I'll probably go with just that shrapnel color on the little swim bait. And that's such a great brim imitator. Like I said, anytime I see those brim up there in the later part of the spring, that thing can be absolutely dynamite. My setup for a chatterbait pretty much stays similar throughout the seasons, and all these baits that I showed you just now is going to be the same thing. Sunline, 18-pound shooter is what I use. I've experimented with multiple different lines. That 18 shooter is the most versatile, I would say, to be able to do kind of anything you want. Even that little small Miniax, you can throw it on 18. Sometimes I might jump down to 16-pound on that. Could be really good. And then I'm gonna have a Daiwa Zillion SVTW in a 7.1-to-1 gear ratio. It's just kind of a good intermediate to where you can reel it fast enough to get it to jump and get erratic. But then when those fish jump up and bite it, you have enough speed, you can reel into them and not have a bunch of slack in your line. And then I've got a 7'4" Cashin chattergrass rod. It's just a nice moderate bend on that chatterbait. You do not want to have too fast of an action. That moderate action really gives you the bend that you need so that the fish can eat the bait really well and don't come off. So you can see how that bends from about halfway up the rod to throughout the tip, but it's still got some power to it. It's not flimsy by any means. It's still got some power to it, and that's just kind of the perfect combination for what you're needing. But as you're fishing these baits in the pre-spawn, you're going to be trying to hit the cover, whether it's grass, stumps, things like that, the bottom, rocks. You're going to be trying to trigger fish by bumping those pieces of cover. In that early spring pre-spawn, fish are definitely more territorial. That goes all the way up through the spawn. Once we get to that shad spawn period, we're just talking about getting it around where the shad are type spawning. Like I said, the shallow bank grass, floating docks, anything like that, get it around there. It's nothing crazy. You just have to cover a lot of water with that shad spawn to where find those active fish that are up on the bank. And then towards that end, when we have the brim situation going on, you're going to be just fishing that anywhere around where you see those brim. Brim are going to be hanging out, whether they're around brim beds, along grass lines, around skipping it up under docks can be a huge deal when you see brim kind of around docks. I love fishing that late spring, green pumpkin kind of colored chatterbaits. I've caught some really, really big bass that time of year. A lot of those big brim eaters, a lot of those big dock fish. After they've spawned, they're going to those docks and just kind of recovering before they move offshore or they move out a little bit deeper. So springtime, absolutely one of my favorite times to catch fish on a chatterbait.